So, Gauntlet is about to happen. And this is just for people that are really scared of Act 1 and are super scared of even getting to Sunder. Because if you play a marauder, which a lot of people will, getting Sunder, getting like, I don't know, level 14, Sunder, killing the pirate basically. We don't even have to kill the pirate to get Sunder, just get to the next waypoint. As soon as that happens, it's super, super fine. It's super, super easy. But before that, obviously, the easy answer is play Ground Slam and don't get hit, right? But that doesn't really work for everybody. So I have a few options here. Number one, which I highly recommend you don't do, would be a character like this. Like this one's like a level 10, has killed the Dweller. All of the characters have. This is like the basic version you would go outside of Gauntlet, right? But since you're scared, you don't do this, right? Like you end up with like 300 life and a bunch of damage, but the entire time until you get these two nodes here, you have like no life. Like your life pool is really, really bad, and you kind of want this because of the intelligence. So you're basically taking this here, and only the last 2 points are giving you some life. So I highly recommend you don't do that, even though here the 3 DPS, so you can compare it to the other characters, like 66 DPS. Really, really risky. And this already includes 2 coral rings, like the other character, and a white stone axe. So don't do that, even though it deals more damage, because on the way there, you're very likely to die. The version I recommend for people, even though the damage is comparatively really low, like this one is like a 40-50 DPS thing. It has a blue axe, but that's elemental damage, so it doesn't matter. Again, 2 coral rings, and this character has 1 more level, so it gets a little bit of strength. So this is also like a 310 life. So you have like the same amount of life, less damage, but not that much less damage actually. And you have all this life here, and every piece of life you get on your gear is multiplied by all of this, right? So it's great. And your next 2 points are these, giving you a huge amount of extra life. So this is like the path I highly recommend, even though the damage is really low early. If we go here now and compare a few of your options you have. If you're too scared of Ground Slam. Obviously, if you have Ground Slam, right, immediately hit a Bloom Up, like you're kind of a melee dude, right? It has a little bit of range, but you're kind of melee based, right? If you get rid of this blue pack here, like I'm getting hit a bunch, but I'm also recovering, right? Even without the life flask, I do have a little bit of life regen on my tree, like this one here. I feel like this makes a huge, surprisingly huge difference in that case. So that's like Ground Slam. Let's say you cannot play Ground Slam or you don't want to. You can create a duelist and just get to town. And then for one wisdom scroll each, you could go, for example, Spectral Throw with chance to bleed, right? So you end up with something like this. Like you have the ability, like these super scary monsters here. You can do stuff like this. Actually, you need to get a little bit closer. These are really horrible. But even then, right, you have life flask, you can do this, like you do have range. And you have life flask anyway. So you can do something like this. I feel like Spectral Throw is a little bit weird in a sense of, okay, we also have this guy. Okay, this is like horrible to show. Let's redo this. Maybe this is better. We don't hit the fawn immediately. Like, you can do stuff like this. You can kite backwards, right? If you're like super scared, you get the range from a Spectral Throw, which is really, really cool. So what you can also do with that is maybe even get a shield or two, like a claw, and maybe a shield or 2 claws or something like that. And what you get with that is you get a way more mobile character, right? You also get the life on head, like in addition. Damage is lower, sure. Per cast, but your attack speed is so much higher by having a claw instead of a two-handed weapon. So that's like your options with Spectral Throw. But you can also go for, in theory, a Splitting Steel, which has kind of nice clear, to be fair. It also gives you the range advantage, right? Doesn't really deal damage at all. But you can kill stuff with it. Bit harder on like uniques and stuff like that, if you need to kill them, like some of them you need to. But you could go Splitting Steel as well. That's like kind of your basic options you have with this Very, very, very early game if you really hate Grand Slam. And getting these for 1 wisdom just by creating 1 duelist is kind of fine, right? It's not a huge investment. You just need to get to town. You don't need to do all that much. A different approach would be, which is a bit more involved. You create a Templar and you do the Breaking Some Eggs quests. That's the one in the Mudflats. You just need to do Mudflats, get to the waypoint afterwards, get to town, and you have access to a bunch of gems. And the issue with this is you need like a 2 blue situation. Every time you create a new character because you died, you need to get 2 blues, which maybe costs you a wisdom from Nessa or somewhere. So that's like 1 wisdom guaranteed you need to invest, right? Unless you drop it. And also, you need to get Rolling Magma, Elemental Proliferation. That's like 2 more wisdoms, and 1 more is Holy Flame Totem. Later on, you need to get Flame Wall. The point with Flame Wall is you cannot equip it. It has baseline on a level 1, has a 16 int requirement, and you start with 14 until you get this. And getting this is 9 levels. It's 8 if you do the Dweller, but I wouldn't do the Dweller without Flame Wall. So it's basically you need to get to level 9 to even get Flame Wall. But you gotta be a caster. You can also decide, by the way, if you want like double wands, Goat's Horn also, you can only equip that after you get the versatility thing here. Before that, you're stuck with like super basic wands, but you also need to buy, right? So you have like a 4 to 5 wisdom investment every time you create like a new character. Later on, it's also pretty nice because you get combustion, and the Marauder does get combustion. So that's not a big problem. And your gameplay is rather different here. If you like that more, you can go for that. Like you have your totem, you have your flame wall, right? And you can do stuff like this. It has this typical flame wall rolling magma clear. It's pretty nice for single target overall. Obviously, you don't have much spell damage like a default Templar would have. But you have nice clear, you have a chance to ignite, and if you do, all right, it spreads really nicely. It's pretty cool to farm up some very early levels. Somewhere you can kill stuff, you can go backwards, you still have like this life tree here. So that's like another option you can take in terms of very, very early game until you get Sunder. Getting a free blue is kind of fine. But keep in mind, you also need to obviously level your other gems here. You need some more gear, you need to adjust your filter to very early give you spellcaster stuff and blue stuff, and then you need red stuff later. So stuff like that. Your belt is free very early on if you get a life belt, because you cannot use a rustic stash anyway. I mean, you can, but it doesn't do anything. So yeah, that's another option you can take. Overall, the set I find is pretty nice, especially with a shield, right? You can have shield charge, you can swap this for like Brutus, for example, because I don't need shield charge there. You have Holy Flame Totem to distract enemies a little bit if you don't want to play decoy. Flame Wall, you still have Frostbling. So it's overall a pretty nice set. This is for bleed. It's a pretty nice set of skills to handle the very early game if you're super scared until you get to Sunder and you have the gear to actually use Sunder, like a two-hander, like a Kurai chopper or however they're called, stuff like that. One last thing there. Keep in mind, if you use shield charge, do not kill yourself on the ledge or the other one, the climb, I believe, the goats. Like, don't charge into the goats and die to their mortal shell. If you're unsure about that, just don't use shield charge. You can still have a shield for a little bit of chance to block. Something like that. So yeah, that's that. Bye.